Hello and welcome. Today we're going to try something a little bit different. I play a lot of Dwarf Fortress on the channel, of course, and there's hours and hours of Dwarf Fortress streams around, and I thought that might be interesting to try a bit of a short story of Dwarf Fortress. I have a fortress I've been streaming at the moment called IceWhips that's had an interesting playthrough. Things have certainly been happening, and I thought I would try just sort of telling the story of IceWhips in a few different parts here, and yeah, to kind of tell it in a much simpler and shortened version of what has taken place here at IceWhips. So here we go. The year was 209 during the Age of Myth on the planet they called the Destined Planet. We had 7 dwarves led by an expedition leader called Burnsflipper, who set out to the frozen north on the other side of the mountain range known as the Spine of Talons. The most of the empire was on that southern side of the mountain range. However, they wanted to establish an outpost on the other side, the north side of that range. And within that mountain range, there was a small canyon carved through by mostly tundra and a little bit of a swamp set up there. And just to the southern, within that mountain range, Burnsflipper, our expedition leader, discovered a perfect spot to call home. And there was rumors of a nearby cave which had a yeti in it and a few other things, but for the most part it seemed like a good spot. We had wood and wildlife in the swamp. We were in mostly the tundra, but there was a nice mountain right at the right within this cavern, or in this canyon, that had a few glitters of gold in there, and it seemed like a perfect spot for our new dwarven fortress. Initially this was supposed to be just sort of just a simple colony, an outpost sort of thing, but Burnsflipper had bigger ideas. They decided to name it IceWhip, and within this colony, Burnsflipper wanted to put in a grand entrance, something that would be a bit bigger than just a simple colony, and within this grand entrance we had sculpted columns and statues lining the way, all heading into within the rest of the fortress. So in that first season, the 7 got to work, the 7 dwarves we had with us, and just within the first season, they had a half a dozen workshops set up, they had offices, and bedrooms, and most importantly, a new tavern called the Pumpkin of Dreams, all sort of within this idea of establishing a nice-sized fortress here, something that would encourage other folks to move here, because this whole northern part of the world, there really was no one out there other than, the occasional yeti and whatever heinous things out there, but for the most part, this was a pretty untamed place. So over the next few months, some more dwarves slowly trickled in. We had 6 more show up by the fall, and Burns decided to order some exploration tunnels to be dug to see what kind of riches and metals were within the mountain here. And we only had Wintex. It was our only dwarf that came with us that had any sort of military skill, so he had geared up everything he had. Had a battle axe and some armor and just basic stuff, but he was our line of defense against whatever we may find. But we still dug, and just below the fortress, not too far down, they discovered caverns, a giant underwater lake, plenty of fish for a new source of food. We had signs of spiders down there with plenty of silk, as well as a source of nickel, which doesn't get too much, but there was a lot of gold discovered down there. And so we knew what metals we had in the mountain, lots and lots of gold, and that was going to be a big source of our income here. So, of course, as soon as the water was discovered, we set up our fishing spot, and Urist grabbed his pole and went to work looking for a new food supply. And almost immediately, as soon as Urist showed up, we had our first death in the fort. And a giant cave toad named Strangelords showed up and bit Urist's head off. Now we had 12 dwarves. Strangelords took off, and we didn't fight him. He was gone after he chomped on poor Urist. But after that, we had a bunch of Kia parrots show up and snatch a few of our items, including a copper battle axe. So things were a little shaky for the first year here at IceWhips, and so we decided to set up our first temple in the name of Libash, the Outrage of Flame, the god of fortresses, war, and chaos. So in honor of Libash and our new temple setup, trying to find some sort of a foundation here, we decided to go and get Wintex some experience. And on the other side of the Ocean of Carrying, the sort of central ocean here, into the Folded Jungle, which is where the elves lived, we sent Wintex off on an adventure. There's a elven forest retreat there called Fishwindy, which had lots of artifacts. There wasn't a whole lot of defense there, from what we understood, and we thought, Barnsliver thought, I should say, that if we could bring in a few more artifacts, maybe cause a little bit of chaos, thanks to our lord here, we could maybe encourage migrants and make a name for ourselves up here in IceWhips. And so Wintex set out to Fishwindy, several days hike, and managed to sneak in unnoticed. He just grabbed the first thing he saw and bolted out of there. However, he was spotted on his way out. But he came back with a book called Beyond the Light of Day, which is some, book about the variation of daylight with the seasons. It doesn't matter what it's about. It's an artifact, and that puts your name on the map here in the land. And so we got they set up a library called the Bastion of Whipping. Got the artifact in there as soon as Wintex got back. And to encourage more wealth, we started digging gold. Barnsliver was ordering gold being dug, get out of the mountains, and get it stockpiled. We'll start crafting things as soon as we can. Gregorius, another one of our original dwarves, was a master carpenter and started creating some masterwork chairs and tables and barrels. Things were looking pretty good. Things we got a little bit greedy, however, by that point. And Wintex set out on a second raid to Fishwindy. There was a whole lot of artifacts that he noticed when he was there the first time. And this time, however, he did not sneak in successfully, and he was spotted. He was attacked, but he managed to get away, but empty-handed. So that one didn't go so well. However, by the time he got back, we had our third wave of migrants show up, which tripled the numbers of the fort. 28 new dwarves showed up, which put us at 39 dwarves altogether. 40 dwarves, somewhere in there, altogether. And with the wave of new migrants, we got some big construction going up. Walls went up outside. There's a whole second level to the fortress was added in with bedrooms and a private meeting hall. New workshops went in as well. Within all this, not too long after the migrants showed up, Wintex, however, fell into a strange mood and took over a workshop, attempted to craft something. However, he failed to craft it and just went berserk. He swinging his battle axe at anything that moved, and the first thing that moved nearby was Jackie, the poor little child dwarf that was hanging nearby in the stockpiles. And a battle axe went into Jackie. Jackie, however, put up a good fight. He clamped on. He did everything he could to hang on. Even Gregorius charged in to the rescue, but he was too late. Jackie was dead, and Wintex turned onto Gregorius with his battle axe, started hacking Gregorius in the leg with his battle axe. Gregorius, however, was quite a fighter and put up a good fight and managed to steal the axe from Wintex and put it into Wintex's head and killed Wintex. We had our third death at IceWhips. So we lost our only fighter. We lost the poor Jackie, the little kid. Gregorius came out as a hero, and it was time to maybe have a bit of a defense. So Jernfalk took Wintex's place and became the new defender of our fortress. Gregorius, obviously, got the job of joining Jernfalk in the new military. And Jim showed a desire to enter the military as well by constructing a new artifact, a mountain goat bone helm. So we had 3 now in the military. So not long after that, we had our 4th death, however. Quill was down in the same spot as Urist from before and was doing some fishing. And a group of pond grabbers came in and dragged him into the water and took down Urist. Our 4th death there. But still, the fall of the second year now, we've gone about a year and a half here. Some of the traders from the mountain homes arrived. And we had an offer to turn IceWhips into a barony. And they proposed the question to Barnsliver, who should be the new baron of the fortress. And Burns considered Gregorius being the hero of the fortress so far, with Wintex dead, of course. However, chose Nook for the job as being the voice of the empire and settled here in the fortress. So Nook took control of the fortress, and Nook's first commands: taller walls, spike traps outside, and a massive throne room. Nook also wanted some bracelets, some bone bracelets. He had a strange thing for bracelets. So we even had a few human mercenaries, traveled all the way up north to come and join in the fort as well. Things were starting to look great at IceWhips. We were nearing the end of our second year, And we began smelting. We had gold bars and creating everything out of gold because there was so much in the mountain. Golden splints and crutches. Even the floors were being paved in gold. And Nook had a bit of a paranoia. He knew that there was some sort of attack. Knew there had to be some sort of impending attack coming. And so defense was his thing. He filled out the militia squads. We had Jernfalk was leading the melee squad. Also added in a whole new squad of crossbow dwarves. They had 20 dwarves in here, all filled with training schedules, getting to work. By the end of the second year, we had 71 dwarves, all in the fortress, and things were looking up. At the beginning of the third year, we had a new mayor. Ast Uristost was now running the show. Well, as a mayor, anyway. Nook, of course, was still in charge of the place. And, yeah, things were looking great. Things didn't look too great much longer, though. And we're going to continue this in a part 2, beginning with the death of our Baron Nook, when things went into a bit of chaos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.